Hi guys, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. It's Meatless Monday, and today I'm going to teach you how to make stuffed and roasted eggplant rolls. Super delicious. They're going to be stuffed with a spinach and feta filling. I mean, what could be wrong with that? We're not going to go over all of the ingredients right now. We're just going to go to the first step, which is slicing the eggplant. You want to make sure you get the freshest eggplant that you can find. We're going to slice the eggplants first into thin slices. Let me show you how we do that. So you just want to slice a thin piece of one of the sides so that way it has a stable spot to stand on, just like that. And then each eggplant you just want to slice into 6 to 8 thin slices. Now we're going to salt these liberally, and what that's going to do is a lot of times eggplants contain lots of seeds in them and it makes them taste bitter even after you cook them. So a way to get rid of a lot of that bitterness and just mellow out the flavor is to sprinkle them liberally with lots and lots of salt, and then we're going to place them into a colander and let them sit there for about 30 minutes or so. It's going to sweat out a lot of that moisture, and then we're going to rinse them off, and it's going to just rinse them off and pat them dry, and then they're going to be nice and tender and the bitterness will be gone. But I'm going to continue to slice these eggplants, put salt on them, set them in my colander, and then we're going to go on to the next step, which is making the sauce. Next, we're going to move on with making our red sauce. It's a very basic red sauce that I made over and over again. If you prefer to make this with a white sauce or a bechamel sauce, I'll link up in the card section on how to make it. I've made it so many times on this channel. But the ingredients for this recipe are so basic. All we're going to need is some fresh parsley, salt, pepper, a can of crushed tomatoes, some crushed red pepper flakes, fresh garlic, a little bit of sugar is optional, some olive oil, and in my pot here I have some an onion that's been finely chopped and it's cooking in olive oil. You want to make sure you cook it for a few minutes, about 10 to 12 minutes, or until it's nice and soft and golden. Now that I can smell the onion and it's ready, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grate the garlic cloves, and we're just going to add them in until they heat through. Once the garlic warms through, that just takes about 30 seconds or so, go in and add the tomatoes, the crushed canned tomatoes. You can get tomatoes that are whole and then just puree them yourself. Then we're just going to season this with a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes, some salt, some freshly ground black pepper, and just a little pinch of sugar, which is optional. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to. That's just going to balance out the acidity. You can also add a teaspoon of dried oregano if you wanted to. We're going to bring this up to a boil. Then we're going to reduce the heat to a medium-low and let this cook for about 10-15 minutes or until it's nice and thick. I'm also going to rinse out this can with about a half a cup of water. We don't want to waste any of the sauce. And then once the sauce is ready, we're going to move on. While our tomato sauce is cooking, I just moved it to the back stove. Let's go over the ingredients for the filling. These are the same spinach and cheese ingredients that I use to make my spinach and feta cheese stuffed shells. I'll link that recipe up here above in the card section if you haven't tried that. That's also a fabulous Meatless Monday recipe. Let's go over them once more, and then we're going to make it. We're going to need some olive oil, a clove of garlic, lots of fresh spinach leaves. These are baby spinach leaves that I've roughly chopped. We're going to need a chunk of feta cheese, whole milk, good quality feta cheese, some full fat ricotta cheese, 2 eggs, some salt, pepper, crushed red pepper flakes, parsley, and some dried dill. So we're going to begin by grating the garlic. We're going to grate the garlic, and then we're going to add it to our pan and just warm it through with some olive oil for about 30 seconds or so. If the pan is already hot, all it's going to take is about 30 seconds. And then we're going to warm it through, and then we're going to add the spinach in. It looks like a whole lot of spinach, but it's going to wilt down a lot. So in just a few minutes, the spinach is going to wilt down to almost a quarter of what it was. As you can see, it was like a whole mountain before. This is done. We're going to take it off the heat. And before I do that, I'm just going to season it just a little bit with some salt and pepper. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add my dill. I feel like the heat is just going to activate it. Dill and spinach are like a match made in heaven. And there you go. This part of the filling is ready. We're just going to transfer it into a big mixing bowl. I'm going to add the ricotta cheese in. Always make sure you're using full fat cheese whenever you're using cheese. We're going to crumble the feta cheese in. I'm also going to add a little pinch of crushed red pepper flakes. and just mix it all up. So before we add the raw eggs inside, we're just gonna go ahead and give it a taste and see if it needs any salt and pepper. Now we're just gonna whisk the eggs together and add the eggs to the spinach mixture and just mix it all up. And that's it, your spinach mixture is ready. After about 30 minutes, the eggplant is gonna start sweating and just releasing all the juices and all this water. We're just gonna discard this water. I'm gonna rinse the eggplant and then pat them dry really well with some paper towels. I have a cast iron pan over medium-high heat. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil in here, about 3-4 tablespoons. My eggplant is nice and dry, and I'm gonna cook it for about 4 to 5 minutes or until it's nice and soft all around, so that way it's easy to roll up. You'll know they're ready when they're almost translucent all the way. They start to change color, and then they're nice and soft. So just take them out and put them in a baking dish. Continue cooking all the rest of the eggplants until they're all done. You can put some olive oil in the pan each time you add the eggplants, because eggplant does need some olive oil to cook in. Alternatively, you can also do this in the oven. It's just that doing it that way will dirty more things, so I just like to do it in one pan like this. Once I'm done cooking the eggplant, we're going to move on to the next step. The eggplant is ready. Now let me show you how the tomato sauce looks. It's going to be nice and thick after about 15 or 20 minutes. Make sure you go in and you taste it and adjust the seasoning if it's needed by adding some more salt, pepper, maybe a little bit of sugar. Now we're just going to chop up this parsley and add it to the sauce because I haven't added any herbs. You could add basil, oregano, whatever your favorite herb is. I'm just going to freshen it up and keep it light. Put that in there. Give it a nice mix, and our sauce is ready. Now it's time to assemble it all. We're going to begin by pouring most of our sauce, I would say about 2/3 of it, on the bottom of your baking dish. And then make sure you have a nice little assembly line going. Set this aside. I'm just going to put a bunch of these delicious eggplants on my board so we can roll them up. Now you can use these eggplants in many different recipes. You can use them to roll up some salad in there, maybe some couscous salad. You can just put some cheese, just plain sticks of kefalotiri or Gouda cheese, and just roll it up. I mean, this recipe is so versatile, but this is probably my favorite way to make it. We'll start with this. We're going to take a spoonful of the spinach filling. We're going to put it on the bottom. And then I also have some shredded mozzarella cheese here. It's going to act like the glue for the filling. And we're just going to roll this up just like that. I'm going to keep doing this. Some mozzarella cheese. You could use mozzarella, Gouda, whatever your favorite cheese is, whatever you have on hand, whatever melts beautifully. And I'm going to keep filling these until the eggplants are done and until the filling is done. You can go ahead and put these inside the baking pan over the sauce, seam side down. So this makes a very big batch. As you can see, it's filled up 2 trays, a small tray and a bigger tray. It makes about 21 eggplant rolls, which is great for meal prep because you can either bake both of these off like we're going to do right now, or you can just bake one and then freeze one. Just wrap it tightly in plastic wrap and store it in your freezer. Whenever you're ready to bake it, just take it out and pop it in and bake it until it's nice and golden and bubbly. We're going to put it in the oven right now. My oven is preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to bake it uncovered for about 30 to 40 minutes or until it's really nice and golden all around and the sauce is bubbly, and I'll show you what it looks like as soon as it comes out. My eggplant rolls took just about 30 minutes in the oven to bake. Once they're done, you want to take them out and let them rest a little bit and cool down, and they're best served at room temperature because the filling is going to be piping hot. The sauce is going to get a chance to settle because it has thickened, and it's just going to be perfect. Take a look at just how beautiful these look. Time to go in and take a taste. Let me get some of that sauce. Now I recommend that you serve these with some toasted bread and a nice salad with arugula greens in it. It's just going to be, you know what I'm going to say, it's just going to be delicious. Let's go in and take a taste. And the whole thing really just melts. It's a great dish to serve if you're hosting something special and you want to make something nice that's vegetarian, maybe your guests don't eat meat, or you want to surprise them with something that's not a main course meat dish, you can serve this as a main. And if your guests are not vegetarians, go ahead and make some giftedes, which are little meatballs, as an appetizer, and kind of switch things up a bit. The main doesn't always have to be a meat dish, you guys. Time to go in and take a taste. Oh my God. It just melts. The flavors go together perfectly. Personally, I love the red sauce, but if you're not a red sauce fan, go ahead and make the bechamel sauce with this. This is just delicious. If you're not a fan of eggplant, and if you're not, you should try it this way, and I think you'll become one because this is just divine. But if you're not a fan of eggplant, you can do zucchini instead. Just do the same procedure like I did with the eggplant, with the zucchini, and that'll be fine too. Let me know what you think, you guys, in the comment section down below. Go over to the website and grab this recipe, www.dimitrasdishes.com. It's also in the description box down below, but if you want to print it, I have an option to print it on the website. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me today, and I'll see you all next time. Yes, us.